We might be too young to have a spotted cow, but we are both diehard Packers fans.
I could talk about this for hours.
He was my legend. He was my quarterback one. Taysom Hill, forever in my heart.
We have a kind of a reputation of being the young and diehard fans. How was that, Dr. Pepper Taysom?
Amazing.
Okay, good. Let's keep it under 25 minutes, all right?
Welcome back to the Underage Packers podcast. This is episode number 76 here today. I am Joey. I'm, as always, joined by Big B here on this Friday. Happy Friday, Big B. How are you doing?
Happy Friday. I'm doing phenomenal.
Yes, it is football weekend. You know, before we introduce our great guest today, I wanted to point out this will be, we're heading into another season here at Underage Packers. I'm so excited to actually be previewing a game instead of talking about roster cutdowns or draft talk nonsense. This is the second season of Underage Packers, but it is the third year that me and Big B are doing a show where we talk about the Packers. So it's a lot like Corey Banky's argument a few years ago where the Packers said they were founded in 1921, but that was only when they joined the NFL. It's just as much controversy, but I just wanted to get that work out there. Anyways, today joining us, a long overdue, should have been a while ago, is Perri Goldstein. Perri, thanks for coming on.
I'm so happy to finally be given the honor of coming on this show. I feel like I've waited for so long, and I was like, I'm gonna be patient. There's a lot of great Packers content creators out there. I'm very happy to finally be here.
Yeah, I can't believe we got to. I don't know where we got the stupid idea last year to try to work out a guest for every single preview episode last year. That was insane. Somehow made it without having you on. So we had Maggie on a few times. Super excited this is finally happening though. So let's start off like we were just talking about before we started recording here. It's kind of difficult to really preview a game when you don't know what's going to happen. You haven't seen these teams out here at all yet, although the Saints and the Packers didn't have too much changes from last year to this year with their roster. But let's talk here about, before we get into any Saints-Packers stuff, some predictions, superlatives for the 2021 season. Let's start off with our breakout player for this year. I'll go first. And for me, that's going to be, I probably should have thought about this before, but that's going to be Rashawn Gary for me. Just think of something off the top of my head. His rookie year, he didn't see that many opportunities, especially with Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith taking over, having a great season in 2019. So we didn't see much playing time in his rookie year, and that's pretty typical for Packers rookies, not even with those circumstances that Rashawn had. And then 2020, he started to get in there a little bit more, especially with Preston not being as productive. But I am so excited for Rashawn Gary. Hopefully a lot more opportunities. He didn't still, even near the end of last year, I would have liked to see him get a few more snaps. But hopefully this year, full-time starter, rushing after that quarterback. Perri, who's your breakout player for this year?
Okay, I don't know if this is like a cop-out, but can I pick MVS to have his breakout season?
No
because
rules.
He's already fairly established, right? Like, he is one of the best deep threats in the league if you look at the stats and his yards per catch and all of those things. But I just still feel like he's not yet the household name that maybe his ability could make him be. It is a contract year, right? So he's playing for either to come back to Green Bay or for someone else to sign him. And I think he's gonna get the contract he's looking for regardless. I personally would like it to be in Green Bay because I think he has a really, really kind of perfectly carved out role with Matt LaFleur. But we predicted it on Packs What She Said. I'm going to say it again here. Maggie and I both really think this is going to be kind of the 8 touchdown, 800 yard season for MVS.
Yeah, and I mean, he really would have had those stats if he could just hold on to a few more last year. So no doubt he's going to get those opportunities just like he did last year, and then hopefully some more this year. And that contract, I was really hoping for would have happened this offseason during camp, just as like lock him up for 2 years. We have, he might be a lot better than what he is now. We might just be scratching the surface of his potential. Lock him up now so he doesn't, if he has a fantastic this year, kind of get him on a cheap deal, which obviously would end up being a bad deal for MVS if he does go out and be a star. But anyways, Big B, let's hear your breakout player for the 2021 season.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Josiah Guara because why not? I went out last year with the ACL injury versus Atlanta, and he had a all right game versus the Vikings. No, nothing spectacular. Had one catch, I think. Had that phenomenal block on, I think, an end around for Alan Lazard. I think he's going to be the X factor, like Aaron Nagler keeps saying constantly. He's going to be the X factor this year, and I'm so excited to see him finally play in this Matt LaFleur offense.
Yes, if Matt LaFleur uses Josiah in the same way that I do in Madden, then exciting stuff is coming, folks. I will tell you that much. He's going to help out a lot in the running passing game. And like you mentioned, that opener against Minnesota last year, he did do a lot more than most third-round rookies. So I'm definitely excited to see what he can do, what opportunities Matt LaFleur presents for him this season. Next up, here we go. We got a record prediction. This is always one of those pointless things, if you're wrong, which you probably are going to be by at least a game or two, then who cares? But if you're right, then you can say you were right at the end of the year. I see it still being in that similar range from 2019 and 2020 of 13-3, which would be 13-4 or 14-3, no matter whichever way you want to look at it for this upcoming year with 17 games. I guess considering the teams they have to play, I'll say 12-5 for the Packers this year. Perri, are you right around that range too?
Yeah, I'm thinking more 11-6, just because, like you said, their schedule is pretty tough and they have some pretty legit road games. Right, and I don't think that their record is going to necessarily show how good this team is, just because they have some pretty tough opponents.
Sure. Big B, what is your record prediction here?
Man, I'm gonna go at 14-3. I don't know about that anymore, but I'm gonna go 3.
Big B's the most optimistic one of out of us all.
Someone has to be.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing I'm most excited here. Let's switch things over to Packers versus Saints in Jacksonville this week. First off, I wanted to talk about the many Packers legends on the Saints. The obvious one is Taysom Hill. Had a great preseason game against Washington for the Packers. I don't know why I remember that, but I also specifically remember him running in for a touchdown in that game. And Aaron Rodgers also played a little bit in that preseason game, and he had a touchdown to Jimmy Graham, and everybody went nuts. Everybody was excited, and that didn't turn out the way we wanted it to. But long point of this scramble.
He did play with Jamal Williams as well at BYU.
Yeah, that's what everybody had on their minds. That's the question everybody was thinking right there. Taysom Hill on the Saints. Hopefully he gives us another fumble this time. He's just so kind in that regard. Then we got two defensive linemen, Christian Ringo and Montravius Adams, Ty Montgomery, Gadar Holman, and Kavari Russell. I'm sure there's more that are just so obscure, but I think our new mission statement, we said it last week, our new mission statement for Underage Packers should be, you won't find this content anywhere else for a reason. We love our Packers legends. Now let's get to some less serious stuff here. The Saints defense, we're going to be going basically group by group for both teams to talk about Saints defense a little bit, Packers defense a little bit, and then both teams' offenses. Unfortunately, we won't be given too much screen or audio time to the special teams on either team. Let's start it off, though, with Saints defense. They were pretty highly ranked last year, the star of their team that got them to the divisional round of playoffs. They are pretty desperate at cornerback this year, though. Marshawn Lattimore, he was put on the injury report this week. I believe it was with a back injury, but right now, or today's injury report, he's not listed on there at all. So the Pro Bowl corner will be a full go this Sunday. Paulson Adebo, the rookie, is looking like their cornerback number 2, 3 is definitely going to be in the mix. And then they acquired 2 guys this past week with Desmond Trufant and Bradley Roby from the Texans. Roby most likely will not play, though, in this upcoming game. So
He's suspended.
He is suspended. He
Okay,
can't play till week 2.
Okay, did not know that. Big B, what do you think this will really be a easy game for the Packers wide receivers? Because there's been some games in the past, though, where we're looking at it like the Lions last year, I believe, was one of them, where on paper their cornerbacks aren't that good, but the way their defense is schemed, it really doesn't matter that much. And although Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, and no matter what you present at him, he's going to go off. Sometimes those cornerbacks still limit the offense in certain ways. But do you think this is going to be a pretty easy week for the Packers offense going up against inexperienced and a weak cornerback room in New Orleans?
I'm going to say yes, because you get Devontae. Devontae didn't play last year, and then that frees up MVS, who didn't have a catch last year versus the Saints. And then you also have Alan Lazard, who balled out last year. So I feel like this is going to be an easy game. And then you throw in Robert Tonyan, Aaron Jones out of the backfield, A.J. Dillon out of the backfield if we're getting crazy here. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's a good point you mentioned about the Packers being able to use so many wide receivers, running backs in the receiving game as well. So that will be exciting. We'll get to that a little bit more. The defensive line for the Saints, it is also a big star point for them. It is a little bit weaker from last year, though. They lost defensive end Trey Hendrickson in free agency, and then defensive tackle David Onyemata is also suspended for the Saints. So that defensive line is looking a little weaker. This is a great transition point here to the Packers offensive line, which will have 2 rookies starting with Royce Newman and Josh Myers. So Perri, who do you're looking at this defensive line versus offensive line matchup, Packers offense versus Saints defense. Who do you think has the advantage? Do you think it's going to kind of be back and forth all game? How do you see this playing out?
Yeah, I mean, they have Marcus Davenport and Cam Jordan, who are going to be problems. I think that it's going to be a really big test for the rookies. I'm fully imagining that they're going to kind of try to line those guys up on the interior to go against what they view as the weaker matchup. You hope that both Royce Newman and Josh Myers will be able to hold up. And I think more to me, I'm hoping that, it doesn't affect the run game, right? Because you want to get Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon going. You don't want that defensive line to be a problem and stop that. And you're, I guess, kind of forcing Aaron Rodgers to throw the ball, which is not the end of the world, right? You kind of hope they're game planning for Aaron Rodgers to exactly what you just said, kind of pick on that weaker secondary, but you do want some balance. So I'm hoping that they can kind of get the run game moving a little bit, maybe run between the tackles because, we trust Elton Jenkins with that a little bit more.
Yeah, it will be interesting because Royce Newman or Josh Myers really won't have any veteran on his side. He's got Lucas Patrick, who, is a little more experienced, but he's got Lucas Patrick and then the rookie Royce Newman to his side. Not that they're playing a game of telephone, but virtually it would help to have David Bakhtiari or Elton Jenkins by your side. Let's see here. Elton Jenkins, just mentioned David Bakhtiari being out for at least the first 6 weeks. Elton Jenkins will be taking the left tackle position. And Big B, you hit on this a little bit earlier, but there's so many new toys for Matt LaFleur this year. Josiah Guara coming back from injury. Amari Rodgers, 3rd-round draft pick from this year. Randall Cobb coming back. A.J. Dillon probably hitting a new second year. Hopefully not a sophomore slump, but getting more opportunities in his second year after being kind of limited last year. So that will certainly be exciting to see. Let's shift things over to the Packers defense here. Jesus. Sorry for dying. Packers defense, they have a new defensive system with defense coordinator Joe Barry running kind of like a Vic Fangio type thing. Perri, what are you going to be looking forward to or watching the most from Joe Barry week 1?
I have a handful of things. I want to see how the Packers tackle. Like, has Joe Barry instilled anything in them to tackle better? I think it's going to be, I don't know if Packers fans are going to enjoy this comment or not, but I think it's going to be like not that different from a Pettin defense, other than it's going to be way less dime. Like, they're still playing to stop the big play. And I think that's right to do in like the current, the way the NFL is with offenses right now. But like, do they succeed in that? Because Jameis has a big arm, right?
Yeah.
So are they able to kind of stop Jameis? And third down, what are they doing on third down? Are they playing 15 yards off the line again, or are they actually getting after the quarterback when it matters? So those are kind of my three things to look at, because it's completely new. Like, what's Joe Barry going to try out there? What kind of looks and scheme is he going to use is all such a big question mark.
Yeah. Hopefully we just don't have cornerbacks 10 yards off on 3rd and 3.
I agree with you.
that will be a good start for Joe Barry. Like you mentioned, Saints now with Jameis Winston, I think more so a lot of people, obviously Drew Brees legend, people recognize though that last year he was a maybe top 10, top 15 range as a quarterback, but it would be a shock to see Drew Brees last year throw the ball over 20 yards. We saw that when we played the Saints last year, that all of their offense was pretty much check downs to Kamara, Thomas over the middle, and Jameis Winston, though, now adds a whole other dimension to their offense. Michael Thomas will still be out. And just like cornerbacks on the other side for the Saints, the wide receiver room is also pretty spare. Few and far between. Traquan Smith, Chris Hogan, Lil Jordan Humphrey. Big B, you mentioned a wide receiver who had a good preseason for them. Who was that?
Marquez Callaway.
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah. I clearly did not pay enough attention because Big B knew who this guy was. I had no clue.
I didn't know his name, but I knew he was a thing.
Yeah. But now Traquan Smith is out on Sunday. So they have one less wide receiver now.
I probably should have looked at the injury reports before this, and why Bradley Roby wasn't playing. But the wide receivers will have to step it up for the Saints. What do you, Big B, overall think of the Saints defense? A little bit different, quite a few bit different, a lot at the quarterback position this year with Jameis Winston. How would you compare this year's Saints offense to last year's?
Well, I think the Saints offense will be more opened with Jameis Winston than it was with Drew Brees, because like you said, Drew Brees barely threw anything over 20 yards. Now you have Jameis Winston, who can throw over 20 yards and accurately. So
it might be intercepted, but it will go over 30 yards.
Yes, it will go. It will go over that 20-yard mark.
Yeah,
I think it will be definitely more open than last year.
Yeah, and then Alvin Kamara is obviously still going to be an absolute weapon for them in both receiving and passing game. Looking at their offensive linemen, they have a few young guys like Cesar Ruiz, but they also have some solid veterans like Andres Pete and Ryan Ramczyk, Wisconsin Badger. Let's see here. So the Packers will win this game if, open-ended question, Perri, what is your answer to this?
The Packers win this game if they get pressure on Jameis Winston and can tackle Alvin Kamara.
Pretty simple. I completely
agree. It is
agree.
pretty simple. There's not, like we just said, they don't have a ton of weapons, right? Like there's not a whole lot to game plan for other than those two things. And I think this Packers offense is going to pick apart the Saints defense while it's kind of shaky and unhealthy.
Right. Alvin Kamara is the biggest thing. And then if you can take Jameis Winston, any strength that he has, away from this game and really just limiting Alvin Kamara. If he gets 100 yards, under 110 all-purpose yards for the Packers for Alvin Kamara, that's a win in my books. Just there's no doubt that the Packers offense can keep up, but just don't make it a situation like last year against the Vikings. I'm gonna go with if the offensive line can stay up, and so this wide receiver with all of its weapons can run at full function. Big B, what is your answer to the Packers will win this game if?
Well, I'm gonna agree with Perry here and say just containing and tackling Elvin Kamara because he had almost 200 yards total last year, so that's fun.
Yeah.
Packers still won that game, so there you go.
Yeah, hopefully hopefully it goes similar to last year. Maybe not quite as close to the final minute because I don't know if I can take that. But will be an exciting one. Let's end it off here. See if we got any good pointless predictions to end it off. All right, who scores the first touchdown? Get bragging rights. Get this right. I'll go with the random one. See here, AJ Dillon receiving touchdown. Perry, who scores first touchdown for the Packers?
I think it's deep shot MVS.
Oh, that'd be so perfect. 20 touchback, 20-yard line, 80 yards to MVS down the field. Big B, let's hear your answer here.
I'm gonna go with Robert Tunyon.
All right.
Like
That's me and Big B might be doing a little bit more of a preview. We will be live about an hour before the game. But Perry, thanks so much for joining us to preview the Saints game.
Thanks, guys. This is my favorite guest of the week, so glad to be on, and go Pack go.
Go Pack go.